Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to COASTER-net Update. I am, of course, Andrew Barczyk here with some breaking news. Yes, our good friends over at CP Nation reported this morning that the Zamperla, yes, you heard that correct, Zamperla website had a bit of a leak this morning that kind of revealed some of the very fine details of Top Thrill Dragster's refurbishment coming up for the 2024 season. So, as you can see, I'm all here by myself. Jeff could not make it. Danny is out, doing other things in Europe right now. So I'm doing this all by myself. So let's look at some of these details. First, it was on the Zamperla website. You can still actually go find the website if you go to the Wayback Machine, if you know how to use the Internet Archives. It's actually still up there. That I'm actually right now on my phone looking at the legitimate website that was posted this morning from Zamperla. And we're just going to go through some of the finer points here of it. So one, it is a triple launch roller coaster, the world's tallest and fastest triple launch roller coaster. We both said to you the other night that we thought there was going to be some funky records, but no actual world records that we can see so far are being broken. That we have a lot of these asterisk world records. That yes, it is the world's tallest and fastest triple launch roller coaster, but is not the world's tallest and fastest roller coaster. So let's go into some of the finer points. Now, on their website, they do name it as Top Thrill 2. However, I do believe that name to be a placeholder. I'd be really surprised if that's the name of this ride right off the bat. I don't think that's a huge selling point for the ride, that they've been trying to distance themselves from the Dragster name and even the Top Thrill name for some time. So I think that's just a placeholder on the website. But let's get into some of the stats here. So we do have a spike on the other side, and we were wrong about this. Jeff and I will be the first ones to admit that we were wrong, that the spike is going to be what they say to be 420 feet, which makes sense. So if you go back to that logo that they gave out at Coaster Mania, the keychains for that, the logo that's on the ground, you have the two sides of the C and the P, and then you have a spike on one side, you have a spike on the other side. So that completely fits, I think, what's going on here. And I think it's kind of cool that they're 420-foot spike, 420-foot top hat. So it's going to be like balanced on both sides, which completely fits what's going on in that logo. But let's get into some of these launches here. The launches, I think, are the most interesting part because Jeff and I had a little debate as to how you would launch on this new ride. So it is a triple launch. You're going to launch first with a forward speed. So it's all LSM launches as well. No more cable system, I believe. The first launch is going to be 74 miles an hour. So that's probably going to get you. So if you imagine that the old Dragster right now, we don't know how big these trains are yet. I'm still reading through here. I don't think the size of the train was in here, but I'm going to make sure that I didn't miss anything as I go through this. But 74 miles an hour is about 35 miles an hour shorter or slower than the old Dragster. That Dragster traditionally shot out. Everyone says 120. But that really wasn't 120 for the most part. Usually Dragster launched at about 110, 115. That's how you could clear the top hat pretty easily. It very rarely ever hit 120, especially in its later days. So that first launch is going to be 74 miles an hour. It's probably going to take you up to at least half of the spike, maybe 3/4. And maybe with these lightning trains, because I was doing some research on the lightning trains and with their weight, it might get you close to the thing, but the key is you're not going to want to go all the way over. So I don't know if you're actually going to get to the turn. I know some of them get real close to the turn and then fall backwards like Pantheon. But this one's 74 miles an hour, the first launch. Then you're going to launch backwards, 101 miles an hour, a backwards launch. No speaking of any airtime hills in here, which I think was the other disappointment, because one of the highlights of Pantheon is the backwards launch through the airtime hill. That's really fantastic. I know this is a lot faster, 101. So it's a real fast launch there. 100-mile-an-hour launch is really, really fast coaster-wise. So a backwards launch of 101, climbing at 90-degree angle. So it's going to go straight up. It's not going to be twisted, unfortunately, as well. It's not going to go straight out, kind of like the Flash out at Discovery Kingdom, how it kind of just angles outward. It's going to be a 90-degree climb of the 420 tall foot vertical spike. So you're probably going to get 350 to 400 feet on that spike. You're going to leave some wiggle room there. I don't think you're actually going to hit the 420, but you're going to go up. You're going 100 miles an hour. You're going to go up pretty high on that spike. And then a third launch that they are saying clocks in at 120, and then climbs over the top hat, over that hill, the 420-foot hill that we all know and love, and spirals down just as the same way. So also no talk of them capturing a drop record. I know some people were talking about that earlier as well, that maybe they extended that drop closer to the ground. There is no talk of that at all. But those are the stats. So 74 miles an hour for the first launch, 101 for the backwards launch, and then 120 for the final launch up over the top hat. So they're also using a switch track, which we kind of figured they would have to, that these launch with the swing launches, they kind of have to use a switch track. There's been some videos floating around. There's nothing really revolutionary going on with the switch track. It's switch track that you've seen. It's not even one, it's just ones that move straight back and forth, kind of like Mr. Freeze does with their launch track a little bit. They won't have, doesn't say anything about the dual loading station or anything like that. It's just a standard switch track. I know the Intamin ones kind of flip, which is kind of cool. This one's physically moving back and forth. They also touted the new restraints and the new seats for the Lightning trains. They're saying it features open seating that keeps riders safe with a comfortable, redundant lap bar. So it is going to be lap bar only, no over-the-shoulder harness or anything like that. Ergonomic, we'll see how friendly it is to guys like me, a little bit heftier on the hefty side. So we'll see if it's friendly to us as well. It's saying that the open train is going to allow for better capacity. People can move in and out a lot easier. Be interesting to see how that actually works. Let's see what else is going on here. Meet any capacity, durable seats, blah, 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 blah. They go on to talk about the aluminum trains and how they're it's aluminum milled chassis with carbon fiber bodywork going on here. They also talk about the wheels being able to withstand the high speed. I know that's one of the things with the old Intamin coasters. It's one of the reasons why Maverick had to lose its Heartline roll, is they were burning through wheels left and right. And the park just did not want to pay for it. That they were burning through wheels, and each of those wheels sometimes costs upwards of $1,000. And if you're having to change that, once every week or so, that adds up real quick to a very costly operation, cost on a weekly basis. So they talk about these wheels being something new. We'll see what happens with that. So there you go. So those are the stats. No real talk of theme besides that Top Thrill 2, which is kind of what I feel is a placeholder. I would not take that one to the bank. However, I would take all these other numbers to the bank. I am very confident that, being that it's on their website, it's very hard to get an outside company to start leaking stuff to really throw people off, that you're like, oh, we're going to throw people off with this. Everything seems to fit with what we already know. We see the logo, and with the two spikes being completely equal, and we don't know if that's the logo. We've seen the image, the symbol that they've been using, and it has the two spikes on it, has the circular track, no airtime hills, no anything else. It's Dragster as you know it, with a triple launch and a spike hill and a swing hill. That is 420 feet as well. So I think my overall thoughts, and I'll wait till Tuesday to give my official thoughts, but I think it's going to be a fun time. Like, I said on the last show that, number one, if you can find a way to give everyone a rollback, that's what everybody's wanted. Everyone's been lining up at different hours of the day for the past 20 years trying to get rollbacks. Marcus Leshock, I remember when he did his whole Cubs winning the World Series things, got 2 rollbacks in a row. People lost their minds. So this is really giving everyone a rollback is I think the selling point here is really the selling point. And then you got the 420-foot spike on the other side, of being able to go up that and doing a 420-foot drop. So now you're getting three drops of at least 300 feet, which if you start thinking about what other coasters give you that, there's not that list is not very long. Okay. So unless you've gone a rollback on Dragster before, and then you technically get two drops of 400 feet or so. I'm estimating numbers and whatever. Don't lambast me. But now you're getting at least three drops of 300 feet, one off the spike, one off the rollback, and then one actually going over the hill. That's adding to a lot to this ride. That I know the criticism of Dragster has always been it's 17 seconds and you get one launch and one drop for that 17 seconds. Well, now you're getting a little bit longer ride time. You're getting three launches, you're getting three drops, and probably the same amount of time in the line, to be completely honest with you, if not longer. So do I think I've said to people in some of the comments, I would have loved to have them to have extended the layout onto Millennium Island into the area where they took out those flat rides to move over to the boardwalk, maybe using the infield to add different elements to this. I would have loved to see them extend Dragster's layout a little bit. Did I think that was going to happen? Probably pretty much not. I thought that was a long shot. Even when I was telling people when they first announced it, I thought that was a long shot. I thought a lot of people thought when they first closed Dragster, it was only going to be an LSM launch, that it was only going to, they're just going to take out the cable system, the old launch, put in the new trains, put in new LSM, and keep everything else the same. So at least we're getting a little bit different. We're getting the triple launch. We're getting the extra spike. You're keeping the top hat the way that it's always been with the nice little spiral down. And hopefully the trains provide the same exact open feeling. I really love the old Dragster trains. I think I love the Millennium trains and that style of train. And hopefully this new train kind of maintains that, while maybe also allowing for bigger gentlemen like myself to be able to fit into those trains a little bit easier. That would be nice as well, although I'm not holding my breath given the state of the industry and where they seem to be moving with that. I'm not going to hold my breath on that. Might have to lose a few pounds before April or May. Probably open in May, to be honest, when Cedar Point normally opens. But yeah, so I think expectations are kind of somewhat met in the middle. Okay, that when people were talking, a lot of people are saying, hey, we need a huge hill, or excuse me, we need a huge spike. We're getting that. We're getting a 420-foot spike, which is way above what I thought it was going to be completely honest with you. I know Jeff had said that they haven't filed the FAA stuff yet, so he thought it was going to be under 200. I thought it was going to be more in the 300 range. And now we're saying that's going to be 420 feet. That's a pretty significant spike, to be honest with you. That if you want to talk about records, 420-foot spike is going to be one. Well, technically Magic Mountain has a huge spike too, so that's not a record either, now that I think about it. But overall, I think the ride experience is going to be improved. I know Dragster's initial launch, that first takeoff was amazing, so you're not really going to get that. But if you've ridden Pantheon, even going through a launch at higher speeds, you don't get that 0 to 120 in 3 seconds anymore. But going through backwards and having that launch backwards is going to be a lot of fun. And then going through that launch a third time out forwards up over the top hat, I think is going to be an experience as well. Yes, the 0 to 120 in 3 seconds is gone. I don't think we're going to get that. I don't think we were ever going to get, well, maybe there's a point of me if they just changed the trains and put it onto the track, you might have been able to do that. I don't know for sure. Because you look at things like Red Force out in Spain, they come real close to that. Maybe with later trains you could do it. It'd be an engineering question, which I am not. So you're losing that, but you're gaining the triple launch. You're gaining the extra 2 drops, the rollback, and I think the rollback, honestly, I think the rollback is really going to be the highlight of this ride. That when we talk about what people have wanted for years at Cedar Point, what people have lined up for years at Cedar Point, it's that rollback. It's the backwards drop off the top hat. And now every single person who lines up is going to get that same experience, which I think is really, really, really cool. And I'm hoping that even though it's a 74-mile-an-hour launch, I'm hoping that you get up real close to the top of that top hat to be able to get the maximum from that spike, from that rollback. But I think I've never gotten one, so I'm super excited for that to happen. Now, is this the ride I'm going to line up for every time? I don't know yet. I don't know. I'll have to see what everything looks like and how it actually rides, but it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And I will tell you, Pantheon, which is far smaller, the best part of that ride is the launch into the top hat, into the spike, back over the top hat. That's by far the best part of that launch. And now you're talking about multiplying that exponentially and getting a much bigger, much faster experience out of that. So yes, it's still a gimmick ride. I think it might fall short of what some people wanted. People wanted record breaking. People wanted a 500-foot spike. I don't know if that was ever in the cards, if maybe a possibility. And I brought this up too, that people in the comments on the last show were talking about, the spike and, why don't you push it to like 475 or something like that. And I said to him, well, to be fair, Magic Mountain has Superman that has a 400+ foot spike. And the cars routinely went over 300 feet. And I asked them, I posted this as a question on our Twitter and Facebook pages the other night. Did you ever consider that to be a record-breaking coaster? Because in all my time in travels, it's always been assumed and always been discussed that Millennium Force is the first Giga coaster, the first coaster to go over 300 feet and drop that as well. But yet here we have the spike, the Superman at Magic Mountain, that people routinely went over 300 feet. 3 years before Millennium Force even opened. So in my mind, even if you built a spike on Dragster that went over 456, which is King Daka's current record, even if you built a spike that went over 456, and even if the train completely went past that, and let's say you go up to 475, I still don't know if I would even count that as a world record, because if Magic Mountain never counted their spike as a world record and no enthusiast ever really credited them with the first Giga coaster, I'm sure there's some people out there who have, then I don't know if you can pull the same thing. Because in my mind, and granted, Dragster's a full circuit, but you're still talking about a spike. So you're splitting hairs at that point. So if you never counted Magic Mountain spike as a record breaker, then I don't see how you could count this as a record breaker. Or you could admit that Millennium Force was not the first Giga coaster and Superman technically is, and then you could easily count this if it would have happened. But luckily for us, we don't have to have that debate. That's why I had that debate right here. And maybe we'll bring that up again when we talk about the official announcement that comes out on August 1st at 4:20 in the afternoon, I do believe is what people are saying. I have neither confirmed or denied that myself. But we'll finally get a theme then. I don't think Top Thrill 2 is the name of this ride. We'll finally get a theme. We'll get some, we already kind of know the color schemes, get to see what the station actually looks like, get to see if there's any other little things going on here overall. So there you go. So to recap one last time, we got the first, it's going to be 420-foot spike. The first launch is 74 miles an hour. The second launch is 101. And the third launch is 120. So those are your three launches. Triple launch coaster, no airtime hills being discussed at all in there. Although we don't know, this is Zamperla's website, not the Cedar Point website, and Zamperla are the ones doing it. They posted also some video there of the trick track working. We already knew from previous drone footage that that's what people are like, oh, Zamperla's not doing this. Zamperla's not doing this. Guys, from the very beginning, they posted drone footage of Dragster track being in their facility. I just don't understand where this idea is coming from. There's no real evidence of it. I don't know where that came from either. It's in my mind, it's been Zamperla from day one. It doesn't worry me at all. They want to play with the big boys here. They want to get involved in the coaster game. And they've built stuff. They built flat rides, they've built roller coasters, and now they're getting into their big coaster here with this nice refurbishment, which basically they're building a 420-foot spike and putting a launch onto a coaster that's already there. It seems like a pretty easy task, hopefully. And hopefully their new trains are very comfortable. much like the old Intamin trains were as well with Millennium Force and Dragster. So as always, we will update you in the future here with more going on. We have a lot to talk about. Dorney's getting in the game now with what they're going to build. They're going to make a big announcement in August as well. Fiesta Texas, which I got no clue what's going on right there. So I got no clue what's going on at Fiesta Texas. But we'll probably do a Dorney show and start breaking down their teasers as well pretty soon as well. But on Tuesday, we get the official Dragster announcement of the name, and we'll see if these numbers stay true, which I think they pretty much are. It'd be really shocking to me if they weren't, but who knows? Stranger things have happened in the Coaster world. So, as always, I am Andrew Barczyk from Chicago, Illinois, and ride on, Ride Warriors.